We cannot just, mga kababayan, we cannot just rely on those people who are giving you ayuda. Ayuda has no proven societal benefit, and it is only intended to further the political aggrandizement of those who are giving the ayudas. You should not even thank them. That is your money. That is our money. That is the money of the Filipino people. Yung mga recipient ng 4Ps, dapat to gumagraduate kayo dyan. Hindi pwedeng habang buhay kayong recipient ng 4Ps. At ang ayuda is stopgap measure. It cannot be an economic stimulus or policy of the government to sustain our economy. No. You know, ang ayuda, binibigay lang yan, pantawid gutom. I fear that if there will be no enough principled, credible personality to be put in place in Senate and in the House of Representatives, we are in danger of seeing a transitioning of the form of government from presidential to parliamentary. We have come to the very, very important and significant part of the year and of Philippine history as we approach the midterm election. And midterm election is usually serves as a referendum whether people approves or disapproves the first half or the first 3 years of any incumbent administration. And through the media, both the social media, the vloggers, and the traditional media, you will play a very, very important and vital role in this coming midterm election so that through your platforms, you will be able to help crystallize the real important and significant issues that are besetting our nation today. And so the people will be able to come up with an informed choice, an informed decision come May 2025 election. Importanteng nagkakaunawaan tayo because I think all of us are aware in this forum and maybe most those who are in the other platforms, the tri-media, the traditional media, and the social media, of what is at stake this coming midterm election. And for me, I believe I share these thoughts and views with many others, like-minded Filipinos, that it is important we put in good people in all available elective positions that will be at stake this midterm election. Because if not, I fear that if there will be no enough principled, credible personality to be put in place in Senate and in the House of Representatives, we are in danger of seeing a transitioning of the form of government from presidential to parliamentary. And that is for the immediate term. That will be the immediate impact. But for the long impact, it's not for the good of each and every Filipino. It is not to uplift or lift our economic status, but rather for perpetuity, political perpetuity being pushed by several interest groups and a handful of political families. So again, importante na nariyan ang social media, nandyan ang traditional media at yung mga ganitong forum, Wilson, sapagkat yun nga, nabibigyan linaw natin yung mga bagay na hindi gaanong klarado sa higit na maraming Pilipino. And it is our duty na tayo yung mga exposed sa kaganapan. It is our duty. We should all take it as our duty to inform and enlighten the rest of the Filipino people who are just so busy earning a living, working, or doing anything just to make both ends meet. Duty natin ho ito na paliwanagan sila at pag-usapan sa higit na mas mataas na antas ng diskurso ang mga usapin na talaga namang kinakaharap ng ating bansa.
Sinabi niyo, there's a danger of shifting to parliamentary Why do you see this danger? Akala ko kasi patay na yon charter change move. May charter change move in the last previous several months na parang has quieted down already. Parang people think na dead issue already because late na siya for the previous Congress. Do you foresee possibility na attempts by people in power to again push charter change politically?
The move to amend the charter either through people's initiative or through whatever mode or medium is still very much alive. It just so happened that they encountered a very, very stiff opposition validated by a survey sometime in February or March of this year, wherein it showed that 88% of the respondents rejected resoundingly any move to amend the Constitution. Not today, not yesterday, not even tomorrow, nor in any immediate future. But again, as I have mentioned in my opening, midterm election serves as a referendum. Now, if kung magwawalang kibo lang ang mga mamamayang Pilipino, magkikibit balik at hindi makikialam at hindi magiging engaging sa darating na midterm election, ang mangyayari, they might take it to mean, I mean the administration, that the people have validated, assuming they will win resoundingly in this coming midterm election, I think they will take that to mean, in my analysis, as an affirmation of what they have done for the country. Unlike if like-minded Filipinos will band together and will make a principled and decisive and authoritative stand to oppose any move to amend the Constitution and to put credible and sensible people in elective posts and be active in trying to crystallize real issues ay hindi natin sila hahayaan na magawa itong kanilang patuloy na pagtatangka na baguhin ang ating saligang batas. At ang pagbabagong yan ay hindi upang umunlad ang Pilipinas. Dahil uulitin ko, in the many forums of Hakbang ng Maisog, I have been very, very vocal in saying that the problem is not the Constitution. The problem is the corruption. Problem 50 years ago, still problem today. Ang problema, palala ng palala, corruption pa rin. And again, I'm not saying that we have a perfect constitution. No. Kailangan nating i-revisit ang ating constitution periodically. But not with this set of officials. Not with them. Not with them. Maybe in the future, but not with them, not now. And they should heed the result of that survey, 88% rejection. Ulitin ko, 88% emphatic yung rejection, no to any move to amend the charter in whatever form, in whatever vehicle, not today, not tomorrow, not even yesterday, and not in the immediate future.
Belia Cariaso, sir. Sir, nabanggit nyo nga na hindi pa patay ang Chacha. So, ano ang ipipilit ngayon ng government? Tutuloy pa rin ba ang People's Initiative o other forms of amending the Constitution?
It all depends. I think, Belia. I think it will all depend. It will all depend heavily on the turnout and the outcome of the midterm election. As we all know, sa tingin ko wala namang debate na alam nating lahat that they have full control of the House of Representatives. They're just encountering not stiff but somehow a credible opposition or pushback from the members of the Senate, from our senators. But if they will be able to successfully fill in the Senate with their own allies and people, I think there is a danger na they will ram all these maneuvers to tinker with our Constitution. But again, hindi kasi para sa ikauunlad ng bawat Pilipino. Hindi kasi sa ikauunlad ng bansa. Gagawin lang nila yan just to ensure that they'll remain in power in perpetuity. And maybe, if we will allow them, it would take another banding together of the Filipino people, pretty much like what we had in 1986. to assert our sovereignty and the sovereign rights of the people to choose our leaders and to speak up finally. Pero medyo ano yun, long shot pa yun sa ngayon.
Ilang kailangan, Senador, para makalampas ito, ma-approve ang controversial charter change? Ilan ang kailangan ng proponents ng charter change para makalusot? Tapos ilan ang kailangan ng opposition para mabalanse and to stop the charter change controversial move?
It depends, Wilson, on what form or vehicle they will be using in their attempt to amend the Constitution.
Yes.
But just the same, I always have this analysis that for any opposition or check and balance to progress and to prosper in any democratic government, you just have to choose whether having a dominant opposition or effective opposition. Dominant opposition may be 6 or 8 solid opposition in the Senate. But at the rate things are going now, mukhang mahihirapang magkaroon ng dominant opposition. So I think I would rather see, I'd love to see our country to have, if not a dominant opposition, at least an effective opposition.
How many ulit ang effective opposition?
Maybe 3 or 4 who will be speaking for the people, who will be siding with the people.
At least
Para lang
3 or 4.
ma-articulate. Because at the end of the day, whatever mode or medium, they will have to submit it through a plebiscite for ratification. But once there is an effective opposition in the Senate, makikrystallize yung issues. Merong magcha-champion ng katotohanan, may magcha-champion nung balancing paggalaw pagdating dito sa tangkang baguhin ang ating saligang batas. In a democracy, hindi pwedeng nagsisiping lahat sapagkat mawawalan talaga ng balanse. And that is a very, very dangerous precedent. So, it is not me trying to create a scenario to have an effective opposition. I am begging the Filipino people, let us put credible people in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. Nakikiusap ako sa sambayan ng Pilipino na wag nating hayaan na hindi magkaroon ng at the very least effective opposition if we cannot have a dominant opposition at the moment. As for yung aking tugon, hindi ho ako gumagawa ng senaryo. Yun ay ang aking vision, yun ang aking aspiration, yun ang aking pakiusap sa bawat Pilipino na wag nating hayaan na makontrol ang both houses ng Kongreso because that is a very, very, very dangerous proposition.
So, sir, you were saying nga kanina about yung credible opposition. So, what's your ideal, or if do you have anyone who are credible opposition, or if not, what's the ideal credible opposition for that?
Kung meron lang 3-4 pa nakagaya ni Dante Marcoleta sa Kongreso, I don't think they will be able to do what they're doing with such impunity. I'm not endorsing Dante, but he's my friend. Should he file for senator, by all means, I will campaign, not just vote for Dante Marcoleta. People like him, we need in the Senate.
The congressman, ano?
Congressman Dante. So that's my, yan yung sinasabi ko, that's what I am pushing for and promoting and campaigning. Let's put, hindi natin kayang abutin yung dominant opposition, at least a credible and effective opposition who can articulate yung mga issues ng bayan. Hindi yung pangsariling interest lamang.
Ang isa po sa nagiging problema natin kung sino yung popular, sino yung kilala, sino yung laging nasa harap ng kamera, mga dyaryo, pahayagan at social media, ang madalas na kilala lang ng taong bayan. Pero yung ideas para maging isang mahusay na lingkod bayan, mukhang yung po yung nakakaligtaan ng taong bayan. Ano po ba yung mga qualifications na pwede niyong ihabilin sa lahat ng mga botante ngayon ng mga Pilipino na sino ba yung tama naming iboto, ano ba yung qualification, not particularly the name, but at least yung katangian na dapat naming hanapin sa kanila?
Well, unang-una kinakailangan, totoo yung layunin na makapagsilbi sa bansa for running. Hindi para lang may pagpatuloy yung dynasty, yung political or family dynasty. Hindi dahil sikat and that's the easiest way to be famous at ang tingin doon sa trabaho ay may pondo ng gobyerno, madaling paraan para yumaman. Wala naman kasing one size fits all na formula, case to case basis. And I'm sure and I hope merong lalabas diyan until October 8 na talaga namang deserving of the trust, the vote and the support of the Filipino people. But until then, we have to wait until we see the full cast of those who will be aspiring and running for senator. Pero sana, yun nga, yung mga nakakaunawang kagaya ninyo, yung milyong-milyong nakasubaybay po ngayon in different platforms, let's take it as our solemn duty to enlighten and paliwanagan natin yung higit na nakararami nating kababayan na hindi lubos na naunawaan ang mga tunay na issues na bumabagabag sa ating bansa. We cannot just, mga kababayan, we cannot just rely on those people who are giving you ayuda. Ayuda has no proven societal benefit and it is only intended to further the political aggrandizement of those who are giving the ayudas. You should not even thank them. That is your money. That is our money. That is the money of the Filipino people. At ang ayuda is stopgap measure. It cannot be an economic stimulus or policy of the government to sustain our economy. No. You know, ang ayuda, binibigay lang yan, pantawid gutom. And yung 4-piece program, yung mga recipient ng 4-piece, dapat to gumagraduate kayo dyan. Hindi pwedeng habang buhay kayong recipient ng 4-piece. Hindi rin pwedeng habang buhay kayong recipient ng ayuda. To the point that those who are promoting for the Philippines to become an ayuda nation, habang buhay na lang kayong tatanggap ng ayuda, hindi na kayo magtatrabaho. And I have seen many workers here in Kamuning Bakery. May mga nagsisilbi rin sa atin, waiters, mga trabahador ni Wilson. Hindi niyo ba napapansin? I have nothing against those who really deserve those ayudas. Ang sinasabi ko, yung mga nagtutulak na maging ayuda nation ng Pilipinas at ang mga Pilipino. Bakit wala kayong binibigay na katumbas doon sa mga nagbabanat ng buto? Kagaya ng waiter, kagaya ng busboy, kagaya nung nasa service industry. Babawasan agad natin ng withholding tax tuwing sahod. Bakit yung hindi nagbabanat ng buto at ayaw ninyong graduate sa 4P, sige lang bigay nyo ng pera, sige lang bigay nyo ng ayuda. Di ba may disparity? Sino ba ang tumutulong na magpuno ang kaban ng bayan? Hindi ba yung nagbabayad ng buwis? Bakit wala tayong binibigay na similar stopgap measure or ayuda doon sa mga nagtatrabaho na higit marami din naman? Because yung mga nagtatrabaho, yung mga nagbabayad ng buwis, hindi nila kayang i-manipulate yung isipan, yung damdamin at hindi kayang bilhin yung dignidad, prinsipyo at pagkatao. Kaya pinipilit nila ayuda lang. Again, not because for any proven societal benefit, but rather for their own political aggrandizement.
Aton, sir, granting na maging senador ka, ano po yung gusto mong gawin? Like for example, pabor ka ba na amendahan o tanggalin ng IPIRA? At ano ang gagawin mo para matiyak mo na ang ating bansa ay mapaunlad pagdating sa ekonomiya? At ano ang gagawin mo pagdating sa foreign policy? And another thing is sa ating mga scientists and mga researchers po ng ating bansa. Dahil malaki po ang brain drain po natin according doon sa mga nakalap ko pong impormasyon mula sa mga dalubhasa natin.
Importante na lahat ng nagsasabi na mahal ang bansa at gustong magsilbi sa bansa at sa bayan kailangan klarado yung vision niya kung saan niya gustong tahakin ang ating bansa. And I think it's not wrong na maihambing mo yung ating bansa sa ating mga kapitbahay. I also want one day to see, I hope in my lifetime, that we will reach the status of our neighbors in terms of progress, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of public transport. Kung hindi man 100%, at least magsimula lang 10%, 20%. Ang tinig ko ngayon, ang tinig namin sa Maisog at ng mga like-minded individual may seem to be just a whisper, lacking the power of a shout. Hindi kasing lakas ang bulong namin ng isang sigaw. Subalit, ang bulong na yan has the power to call your attention. That whisper has the power to call back your center, to call you back into your center. Natauhan tayo. And hopefully, lahat naman ng pagbabago ay nagsisimula sa isang bulong. At ang bulong na yan, pag nagsama-sama with like-minded Filipinos, ay magiging isang ganap na sigaw. Enough for those who are in power to really hear the voice of the Filipino people saying, tama na ang korupsyon ninyo. Pagod na ang Pilipino sa kahirapan. Gusto rin naming umunlad kagaya ng ating mga kapitbahay. Tigilan nyo na yung political dynasty. Tigilan niya yung inyong greed na mapanatili sa pwesto habang buhay.
Follow up sa tanong niya at saka sa sinabi niyo, Attorney Vic, sabi niyo malala ang corruption. Anong comment niyo sa sinabi ni Baguio Mayor Magalong na corruption daw has reached up to 70% of mga project daw? Kunyari, mga project, 100 piso ang budget, 70 pesos daw ninanakaw. Anong comment niyo about the extent of corruption problem in the Philippines today?
Ako'y humanga at talaga namang maisog si Mayor Benjamin Magalong. And yung revelation niyang yan, exactly again, putting my proposition as Exhibit A. That's why we have to work together, magsama-sama tayo so that we can put up an efficient, effective, and credible opposition. Look, very, very telling yung revelation ni Mayor Benji Magalong. 70% ng infra budget ay nauuwi sa korupsyon, 30% na lang ang for implementation, kasama na yung kita ng mga kontratista. Now, napaka-importanting revelation yan. Yan ang dapat iniimbestigahan sa Senado. Yan ang dapat iniimbestigahan sa Kongreso. Subalit, wala tayong naririnig. Subalit, parang bingi sila doon sa revelation at pagbubunyag ni Mayor Magalong.
Thank you. May nagtatanong